When everyone knows the history, understands the treaties, developed and changed over the years, it's not, and especially about Indigenous history, it's not because they turned a blind eye. It's because they were never taught. Not knowing about something isn't a shameful thing. It needs to be rectified. People need to be taught. But that's what this kind of sharing and learning is all about. And I think learning is something that goes on throughout our entire lives. They call it lifelong learning. And I think it's really important. And I think it could start here. But I think any opportunity to share and to learn about other cultures, not just Indigenous and non-Indigenous, but there's so many cultures, so many in Ottawa, so many in the world. And I think the more we learn and the more we know about each other, the more we can help each other, the more we can grow together, and the stronger our future will be. So I would like to open this space with a few words from our Creator. Kachimigwich Jemnado. Thank you, Creator. We are grateful for all the things you have put in our homeland that help human beings to live well. We acknowledge and honor the streams, the rivers, the lakes, and the oceans. We acknowledge and honor the medicines, the ceremonies. We are grateful for the sky above us. We are grateful for the Mother Earth and for all things that live beneath the surface of the earth. We acknowledge and honor our ability to bring peace to one another. We are grateful for our ability to prepare for the spirit world, for when this short physical world ends. We remember our friends and our family who are ill and suffering, either mentally, physically, or through addictions. And we hope they have a good day today, and that they return to us soon as role models and as mentors. And we remember our roles and responsibilities to live our lives with great respect for all living things. Kachimigwich, 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 Kachimigwich. Thank you very much. I know you're going to have a wonderful day.
I would like to recognize and acknowledge the gift of being on Anishinaabeg territory, and specifically on unceded and unsurrendered Algonquin lands. We recognize the two closest Algonquin First Nation communities, Kitigan-Zibi and the Algonquins of Pikwakanagan. We also recognize that in 2022, Ottawa is a gathering place for many First Nations, Inuit, and Métis from across Turtle Island. We acknowledge the traditional knowledge keepers, both young and old, and we honor their courageous leaders, past, present, and future. Today, on September 30th, we gather together on this land that is occupied by OCDSB schools and facilities that serve OCDSB students. As members of the OCDSB education community, we share a connection to this day, the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation in Canada, and a day that we have referred to as Orange Shirt Day. We are students, family members, and caregivers staff members and trustees coming together to honor and remember the experiences and loss of the First Nation, Inuit, and Métis children who were stolen from their families and placed in residential schools. September 30th represents the time of year when this happened each year, and today, the land that our schools and district buildings occupy also represent a place for truth-telling, listening to the truths, and taking action toward rebuilding relationships of trust, respect, and friendship. We remember today that for Indigenous children, schools have not been places of truth-telling, have not been respectful nor friendly. You may know the story of a student named Phyllis, called Jack Webstad, and her favorite shirt, the orange shirt she picked out as a 6-year-old for her first day of school, a residential school. And as you may know, when Phyllis arrived at the residential school, her orange shirt was taken away from her forever. School for Phyllis and for over 150,000 children who attended the 139 residential schools in Canada was not a place where it was safe to express who she was. As a result of being forced by the Canadian government to attend a residential school, Phyllis and all residential school survivors lost many important things like their own language and their ties to their own community and their own families. We also know that many students did not return to their homes and to their families, and in fact, lost their lives at residential schools. For Phyllis, she believed and hoped that school would be a place where she could shine and sing and be exactly who she was. She wanted to matter for who she was and for all the gifts, talents, and brilliance that she brought with her to school. When we believe and know that Phyllis and every child does matter, we do better. On the lands of our OCDSB schools today and tomorrow, we will do better. And we will demonstrate that every child matters and who they are as brilliant and perfect children matters. I want to set an intention for how we will do better in the schools that are on this land. Let's use this land for sites where all Indigenous students and all students' learning spirits are elevated and set free to develop and soar. Schools that sit on these Indigenous lands will be places that center Indigenous stories of past, wisdom of the present, and the knowledge needed for our peaceful future together on the lands of Turtle Island. This land we are on today together was land on which Indigenous children thrived with their families and prospered with joy and love before residential schools. The experiences and the losses as a result of residential schools in Canada have impacts that extend generations beyond the years of operation of these schools. Despite hurt, pain, and trauma spanning multiple generations, this land remains the home to Indigenous brilliance, beauty, strength, joy, and resistance. In this acknowledgement, we can commit to using the land today to listen, to learn Indigenous truths and knowledge. Truths about feelings of belonging with families, belonging to the land, and belonging through culture and traditions and elders' guidance and teachings. In these lands, students in the OCDSB will experience wisdom found in Indigenous ways of knowing and teachings and learn how this can unite people from all cultures towards healing and also in the work ahead to nurture our collective humanity and prioritize the health of Mother Earth. In OCDSB schools, students will be recognized and valued for the sacred learning spirits that live within each child. Lessons from Indigenous youth such as Kenzie can guide us towards a path of relationship building with truth and trust for reconciliation. In a grade 7 essay contest entry, Kenzie, a student, wrote about importance of education. Kenzie wrote, "Education is very important to me as it will help me reach my goal in becoming a fighter jet pilot. I'm in grade 7 right now, and it will help me to graduate from high school and then university or college. Education will open many doors to more knowledge or opportunities, and it will teach me responsibility. The more education I have, the more opportunities will come. Education will get me one step closer to my dream. My dad has been trapping since he was 12, and he was brought up in the traditional way. He knows the trap line like the back of his hand. He also has skills that cannot be learned in the classroom. He has a different kind of degree. My dad learned different things and different skills that are not recognized by a piece of paper. I am proud of my dad, and I am learning from him. So I am privileged to learn these teachings from my dad. We need papers behind our names to live in today's world, but we still need those traditional teachings to learn who we are and where we come from. As we begin this day of recognition and learning, I want to again acknowledge our place on the lands that belong to the Algonquin Nation. Please set an intention for the actions you will take so that OCDSB schools on this land will be sites that demonstrate the many ways that every child matters and every child thrives in all experiences and outcomes as OCDSB students. Miigwech.
Good morning, Sir Will. I'm your first anchor for today, Nico.
And I am Loic, your second anchor for today.
Today, any Muslim students are invited to room 211 today for a prayer group at 11:30.
That's right. If you're interested, just head over to room 211 at 11:30.
Just a quick reminder that there is to be no food in the library, but water is still allowed.
Thanks. Also, we are happy to see that the Varsity Guild basketball team made an amazing comeback against Samuel Jeunesse last night. They started off down 10 points, but they managed to get 54-50 in overtime. Great job, Lancers.
That's great to hear. Now it's time for a quick rundown of the game last night.
Last night, the boys football team played St. Pete's Knights on the Circle Field. Under sunny skies, the massive crowds was treated to the games of the ages. Caden Gregorier booted the ball deep. Quarterbacks Hamza Rana and Tommy Gilmore threw the ball to Sipan Millwood Jonas for big gains. Jacob El Ahab laid on some big hits and ran up the middle. The play of the day was a massive hit by Lancer player 56, he turned off the lights on the Knights. The crowd was going crazy. The Red Blacks are calling. Congratulations to all Lancers athletes. Good luck next week, and let's go Laurier.
Great. Thanks for your update, Loic. Are you interested in anime? Anime Club will be meeting per usual at lunch in room 128. Come on out at 11 a.m. to the math wing and we'll talk some anime. Today is Truth and Reconciliation Day. Today is to remind the troubles that the Indigenous people of Canada had to go through. We hope that many of you are wearing orange shirts today. That's all we have for today, and now for some closing thoughts about Truth and Reconciliation Day.
Well, I hope you had a really good day today. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you shared a lot. And I hope you come away with a good feeling, with a dedication to making things better for everyone, for all the cultures, that we learn to work together in a good way. And so I'm going to close this space with just a few words to the Creator. Kachimigwich Jemnado, thank you. Thank you for the water, for the plants, for the trees, for the ones who fly, for the ones who swim, for the ones who crawl, for the furred, for the feathered, for the four-legged, and for the two-legged. And thank you for bringing everyone together here today with open hearts, with open minds. Help us to see truth. Help us to hear beauty. Help us to speak with kindness and with compassion. And help us to work together for the betterment of all of our communities. Kachimigwich, 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 Kachimigwich. Thank you very much.